Good morning, everyone. Welcome to yet another exciting coffee chat. This morning we are going to be talking about a microneedling RF, and not just about microneedling RF, which has become over the last decade progressively one of the best treatment for facial rejuvenation, for hair growth restoration, for body sculpting, but we are going to be talking about a very specific system. We have had many different ones in the practice, and now we are so excited to welcome SylFirm X to our practice. And I am so thrilled that I get to chat with a dear friend that I literally have known since almost day one in practice. Great to see you, John. Thank you so much for joining us. John Stupka will give you his current official title because he has worn so many hats over the last several years. So tell everyone, what is your role with the company, and then we'll move on to talk about SylFirm X.
Sure. My name is John Stupka with Stupka Aesthetics and Consulting, and as Dr. Pare mentioned, many hats I've worn, from being in medical distribution and sales to having my own med spas to now back on the side of supporting wonderful physicians like Dr. Pare with what I consider the latest and most innovative technologies, and SylFirm X, in my opinion, is that technology.
We're so excited. We've added SylFirm X to the portfolio of treatment choices that we have for our patients in our laser aesthetic department, and we're so excited. As I've mentioned already, microneedling RF has been a really important tool for all of the physicians, providers, in really enhancing the results that we create with topical regimens and then occasionally lasers, chemical peels. So this has become a really important part of the treatment. I want to talk about SylFirm X and how it is different from other systems.
Sure, it is very unique. What's nice is it's proven technology, because the inventor of this, Dr. Na, he's from South Korea, brilliant doctor, as well as not just a practice owner, but inventor. He patented the first dermal stamper 20 years ago, back when they just had microneedling on the stick and the roller. It worked, but it was very
awful
difficult.
That I actually can remember that.
Right, exactly. And so that was one of his first inventions, to make it more comfortable for the patient. He's not a no pain, no gain philosophy of beauty. That is not what Dr. Na believes in. So he came out with really one of the first RF microneedling devices about 15 years ago. And so this is years of progressing and him finding more ways that we could use RF microneedling and using it for applications that we've never done before.
Right. So, just maybe to back up for a second, when we talk, we assume that everybody knows what microneedling RF is, but it's technology that delivers radio frequency at different levels of tissue through inserting these tiny little microneedles. And the way that these systems vary from each other is the depth of delivery, as well as how the energy is passed from needle to needle. So I'd love for you to talk about, and he has a great last name, but we talk about Dr. Na effect, that it's almost now become standard in the industry that describes the polarity of energy and how it's delivered, and what difference does that make from a patient standpoint?
A lot of differences, because one of the first questions that patients always ask their friends about a procedure is what? Did it hurt? That's usually a big question. And what Dr. Na has been able to do, and with lack of my skills of having good accessories here, but let's say this is the needle.
Right.
You're going through tissue and you're trying to coagulate the entire length of tissue to give a nice tightening effect. Well, most devices have a needle that has an insulation around it, whereas Dr. Na has an uninsulated needle, and it creates, when it goes through the tissue, something called the Na effect. So it actually, that energy teardrops back and it coagulates the whole length of tissue. What that allows us to do is have, one, no bleeding with the procedure. It makes the treatment much more comfortable, and that's a big thing. Plus, it makes the treatment more efficient, which makes it a little quicker for the patient and the provider, which is nice.
And it's very safe. Like I've said, we have worked with microneedling, with radio frequency or microneedling RF for years now, and started with systems that were not effective, but they were very painful and a little bit concerning, as potential side effects. This has been really remarkable, and as I always tell patients, I don't really bring anything on until I try it myself. And I certainly have had the treatment myself, and the ability to tolerate it does allow the technician to really deliver an appropriate amount of energy for a better result. And then minimal recovery makes this particular treatment so easy to work into everyday treatment plan. You know, with my own personal treatments, and I feel like I have relatively sensitive skin, this allowed me to go back to work the next day and really have very minimal recovery. We're going to show you a video of the treatment itself. Pay close attention to how close to the eyelid margin we can come to with this treatment. It's quite remarkable. We'll talk about this as soon as the video is over. Isn't this an incredible video? You can see how comfortable our model patient is. You saw how closely we can get to the eyelid margin, which makes this technology so different and so beneficial for the periorbital or around the eye area. And patients have loved the results. Typically, when we treat faces and necks, we recommend 3 treatments. They are usually done about 4 to 6 weeks apart. And as I've already mentioned, there's very little downtime, so patients really can go back to their daily activities as soon as the next day. But what's amazing about this is that not only faces and necks, but we use it for other different purposes. So John, expand a little bit and tell the audience, what is it that this technology is used for as well?
Sure. So if you think about places on your body or face that you want lifting, tightening, improved texture, tone, well, you can use the SylFirm X.
Right.
So head to toe is what I like to tell people, but what's so unique, Dr. Na, being from South Korea, looking at some of the challenges that that skin type or darker skin types have, he went back to the lab probably 5-6 years ago and figured out how to change the energy. And no one in the world's done this. This is a patent, y'all. So this is why the SylFirm X here at your place is so unique. And figured out that he could affect an area called the basement membrane of the dermal epidermal junction. I know that's a mouthful, but pretty much what we're doing is we're helping to control things like melasma. We're helping to create the superficial redness that a lot of people get as they age, and it creates an apoptotic effect of the vessels, which pretty much destroys those vessels. So you get clearer skin, brighter skin, but we can do this on dark skin.
Yeah.
You know, when we used to think about lasers, now we can treat with this device.
I think that's such an important point, you know, that we really do use it in all skin types. It's a great tool for both female and male patients. We use it in different age groups. So of course, different purpose, different expectations, but yes, not only elasticity improvement and not only texture improvement, not only fine line reduction, but now also a tool to control pigment, which it really is remarkable and how different this tool is. What about hair growth regeneration?
That was the one thing, saving the best for last. Hair growth, hair loss, major problem for so many people. I've dealt with my own issues with hair loss. I will tell you, this is such a unique device because you can use this on the scalp. Just like you were showing that video on the eyelids, people stand back a lot of times because we don't think about RF microneedling for those purposes. So now we can use this also to help, it almost creates like a sponge effect to the scalp. So when we make those little micro perforations, and this is not an uncomfortable procedure at all. We don't even use topical numbing for it. And then we just apply some regenerative complex that's gonna help stimulate those follicles to make more hair for you. So.
We'll be sharing some great before and afters with you where you'll see great improvement in the faces, but also really nice before and afters when it comes to hair growth regeneration. So excited. You know, this really has been a tremendous addition to what we offer at Dermatology Consultants. We have so many different choices. Always the first great step is to come and see one of our providers, consult with us. We'll guide you through topical care, and then we'll help you choose the appropriate treatment. And we are so excited. Our official launch of SylFirm X will be in April. There will be some tremendous specials that will follow with that. So definitely stay tuned and watch us. And John, thank you so much for spending the morning with you.
I bet,
Appreciate
Dr.
you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.